Hi, I'm going to show you how I wrap my frosted glass tumblers. I use painter's tape, a scraping tool, and heat tape, and I remove the lid and I line up my image. Now I do cut a little bit off the top of the paper just so there's not too much overhang. So once I get this lined up, I'm going to roll this paper over and pull tight, pull up the other edge, roll it and pull it tight, and then make sure that it's extremely tight and start taping it down with your heat tape. If you don't have one of these heat tape dispensers, it's extremely easy to use. It takes a little bit to try to load it, but it is great to have your hands free just to pull those. So now I'm going to put my painter's tape along the seam and made sure that my paper was nice and tight around the glass. It's better to make sure it's tight before you move on because it's easier to unwrap it and start over. And I'm just going to crease it, make it smooth. Now let's put some painter's tape around the bottom and do not touch the glass. That's the key. I don't let any of my painter's tape touch the glass because otherwise it could take off the frosted. You don't want to use Goo Gone on this. I know some people do that with their tumblers. So I just make sure I go all the way to the bottom without touching the glass and wrap it nice and tight. And then I'm folding in the top here. And again, I did cut off some of the top just so there wasn't too much overhang. Squeezing this all down here, making sure it's nice and tight. I'm going to use my painter's tape again just to go around the top seam, just to keep it nice and tight. Let's go ahead and do one more piece. The other thing that I try to stay away from is I try not to put any tape on the image itself. So don't put any tape on the artwork. I'd noticed on a few of mine where I did that, it had caused some blurriness. So on the bottom here, I don't see any extra gaps or anything. If so, then I would just use my heat tape and tape it down. And the heat tape I do put on the glass and it doesn't seem to bother it at all. I'm just going to smooth all this out, make sure that there's no wrinkles in the tape. I don't think it will cause any issues, but just in case. Here's one I did earlier, and I had some artwork here at the bottom and on the top, so I wanted to make sure I did not put any tape on my artwork at all. And that one kind of had a little bit of spacing in the bottom, so I used some heat tape on that. Here's another one where I got extremely close to the artwork, but I did not put the heat tape on the artwork at all. So that image stays nice and clean and there's no tape on it. Here's just an example of a tumbler I did, same way, but I do use the tape on the image there and it doesn't bother it. So here's what the tops of them look like. These look good. Oh, well that I think I'm going to go ahead and tape down just for a little extra protection. I'm only going to tape the back. I'm not going to tape where there's any image. So if that pulls up, that's okay. Just push it back down nice and tight and don't put any tape there at all because you do not want that to put tape over the image. That should do it. Should